Hey, what's up, sock drawer? So, last weekend I went to a creator day in my country. This was held by YouTube themselves, and it was a really interesting experience. I actually met a couple of subscribers who are starting channels themselves who watch my videos, and when I was there, I took part in a panel. Now, on this panel, they asked us some questions about how to start your channel, questions you would expect for any YouTube panel to be asked. I was incredibly nervous. To be quite honest with you, I'd never done anything like this, and I was so nervous, in fact, that like legit one of the girls from YouTube, she gave me a hug because she could see like how fucking nervous I was. I mean, I've done music performance and stuff in the past, but it's very different when, you know, when it's just you and a microphone and there's like 100 people that are listening to what you're saying. I don't know how to explain it. Now, there came a portion of this panel where the audience would ask questions, and there was one question in particular that actually really stood out to me, and the question was, if you could go back in time to the day that you started your YouTube channel with one piece of information, what would you tell yourself back then? And I honestly, I know it might seem incredibly easy for me to be like, oh yeah, well, what you should do is you should see when that game Five Nights at Freddy's comes out, you should just do like 500 face cam videos of it, or you know, just Undertale, play Undertale, that's a good game. All these games, H1Z1, blah blah blah. I could have given myself all this information, but it didn't pop into my head in any way, shape or form when that question was asked. I didn't even really have to think about it before I realized I was already answering it. If I could go back in time to 2013 Ross, a Ross who had just lost his job, a Ross who was like scared and unsure, and a Ross that was about to start making videos to make people feel a bit of the happiness that he was kind of missing in his own life, I would tell him to fucking own it. I told them that if I could, I would tell myself to stop giving a single fuck what anyone else thought about what I was doing, and to follow what makes me happy. Now that literally, for some reason, got a round of applause from the audience, and it left me a little bit embarrassed, but mostly confused. I didn't ever expect to strike a chord with members of the audience, but for some reason I think it did. And it got me thinking, from when I started my channel up until when I quit my job, I did not really tell anyone that I did YouTube. Some of my friends were vaguely aware of it. I didn't post about it on Facebook. I didn't tell any of my like kind of non-really close friends. I didn't even tell my mother. And the reason for that being was that I was just pretty scared of ridicule, and scared of publicly failing at something, and I feel like that really held me back from growing when I was smaller. And I didn't even tell my girlfriend about my YouTube channel until I already had about 10,000 subscribers, purely because of what I feel like is an attitude to careers outside the norm that society seems to push. I didn't want to make it apparent that I was trying to do this full time because of what maybe people would think if they knew I was. I don't know what it is. I mean, I was totally ashamed of what I did, because for my entire time in high school, up to this point in my life when I started my YouTube channel, all I had ever experienced when it came to careers that weren't sitting at a desk crunching numbers, answering phones in a call center 40 fucking hours a week, people always seem to greet that idea that people might want to follow their dreams and do something that they really, really enjoy. It always seems to be greeted with such crippling cynicism. You always hear it all the time. Someone would tell their parents that, or their friends, that they have a passion that they really wish to pursue, and it's always met with ridicule, and it's always met with, you can't do this, you're gonna fail, you're wasting your time. And I don't understand at all why that is. Humans as a species were born for greatness. We were born to be different. Not even the phrase, the sky's the limit, really applies to humans anymore. I mean, just our Earth, our planet, can't contain our curiosity. It can't contain our need and our drive to pursue things that are outside of our comfort zone, you know? And pursue things that every force in the universe is telling us not to do. There's no air in space. We'll fucking bring air with us into space, man. Like, we can't get humans far enough to examine a planet millions of miles away. We'll build a robot to put it on there for us. We'll build a satellite to observe it until we can get there ourselves. We have only, maybe at best, 100 odd years on this earth And so can someone, maybe one of you guys know, can someone explain to me why in the fuck people encourage others to live ordinarily? The amount of times I have a catch up with my friends at a party or in a bar or at one of their houses, and I'll meet people out somewhere and we'll just be talking about what we do as a living, and they'll maybe be in university, they'll be studying something whilst they maybe work somewhere else, and more often than not, when I ask them what they want to do with their lives, with their entire fucking lives, they either say they don't know, or they even say they don't like the college course, the university course that they're doing, they regret picking it, but they feel pressure to continue because maybe their parents will be disappointed in them, or their friends will be disappointed in them, or they're scared that, you know, there's no future in anything that they want to actually do. And I've had run-ins with people in the past. Run-ins with people who have hit me with the get a real job bullshit instead of being a dick back to them. I've never ever been a dick to people that say this to me in particular. And I've always tried to identify exactly why that person thinks that way and why that person is so bitter towards people following and pursuing things that they really enjoy doing. And there was one very standout case to me on Reddit actually, where I had a run-in with somebody who was very, you need to be 40 hours behind a desk if you want to consider yourself at a real job. You need to be carrying shit upstairs, you need to be lugging fucking furniture around, you need to be working behind a desk answering phones, or it's not a real job. Because a job is exactly, it has such shit connotations. It's a job, you have to do it. I don't like working here, but it's a job. It turns out the guy that I was having this conversation with, after I dug a little bit more into why he felt the things he did, it turns out that he was an ex-YouTuber who used to do Nintendo games. And as you might remember, a little while ago, Nintendo kind of put the clamp down on YouTubers who are making Nintendo games. They would penalise them, they would take their money, and if you wanted to do Nintendo games, you had to give an extra portion of that cash to Nintendo, alongside your MCN and the 45% that YouTube take. And for him, that was it. He no longer made enough money to pursue YouTube. And he, instead of kind of admiring the time that he spent doing what he loved and fondly remembering the fact that he at least had a small chance to do it, and it just didn't work out, but it was completely out of his control. He decided to look back on that experience with a lot of malice and a lot of bitterness. And in that regard, he also looked at every other person that did that with a lot of malice. Like, you did this, I couldn't, but it wasn't my fault, and why the fuck should you be allowed to do what I can't? So he's now working a 40-hour-a-week job that he hates. And it's fucking sad. And I guess you're wondering why I'm talking about this today, and the reason why I'm probably parroting a lot of shit that you've heard already, like the whole you can't do this and stuff like that you probably maybe heard from your parents if you told them you want to do something. Hopefully you haven't heard that, you know, but maybe one of your friends has told you that their parents just outright told them no. It's because I really want to encourage you guys to follow your dreams, and I know, for fuck's sake, that sounds so cliche and it sounds so dumb, and you've heard it a million times before, but just over 2 years ago, I lost my job. I was in a shit place. I was not in the correct mindset that I should have been in, and I started up RossBoomsocks, and here I am. I've gone to America. It's one of my kind of lifelong things I always wanted to do. I know that sounds really dumb, it's just going to America, but I got, you know, flown out to America to try out video games and play video games, and it was cool. I've been to Comic-Con in London, I've flown down to London, met lots of friends from all across the world, like Uber Danger, Kiori, like those guys, meet them at London, hang out. I get to, I can't even call it a job because it doesn't seem like a job to me, despite the fact that I try and treat it with the work ethic of a job, and that I owe it to you guys to continue producing content. I've never worked a day on YouTube because it's not work, it's just something I enjoy doing. And if you have that same passion, if you have been doing something for years, Similar to me, I'd been video editing for many years before I actually started RossBoomsocks, and it was more of a kind of casual thing with friends. If you're into hobbies like dancing, acting, gaming, playing soccer, painting models, graphic design, drawing, building things, coding, flash games, animating, something like that, then why are you settling for working for someone else? Honestly, it doesn't take as much effort as you think it does to start putting yourself out there. So whether that be like dance covers on YouTube, posting your art on like DeviantArt or any other forum, looking for commissions and stuff like that, anything. I can genuinely say with 100% certainty as well that if I failed at YouTube and I had to go back to a real job, I could easily do that, because I know that I failed putting 100% into something I love doing, and I treasure the time that I've spent doing this for the last almost year and a half. I've spent doing YouTube full time. I could fucking easily do that. I could go back to a job, a real job, because I know that I tried and failed at something I loved, rather than before I started YouTube, where I tried and failed at something I hated. And I'm not saying go out and quit your job. I'm not saying go out and drop out of school. All I'm asking you is a simple question, and it's, at the end of your life, when you're on your deathbed and you're kind of approaching the end of that tunnel, do you want your last thought to be about how your life was ordinary, or about how your life was extraordinary? And it seems like a really easy question, doesn't it? It seems like the easiest fucking question in the world. You want your life to be extraordinary. You want people to remember you as being an extraordinary person. Someone who, despite every single thing put against them, despite all odds, you were the person that broke the mold, and you were the one that did something different. So, what are you waiting for? Thank you guys very much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.